How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's EDC, and today we are sharpening a GEC, this Dixie Stockman here. She is duller than dull. I never actually put my own edge on this when it arrived. We all know most GECs arrive with just like an edge bevel that you can follow when you actually sharpen it, but they don't come with a legit edge, as seen here. So, we're going to sharpen it. There's no real rhyme or reason for this video aside from just, having fun. We're going to use a 1200 grit DMT stone today. I've had this for a very long time, as you can see. It's definitely worn in. It's probably on its last mom. And we're going to use a little strop here. This is loaded with 13,000 grit diamond emulsion spray that Michael Richter made. I loaded it onto this balsa wood, I think it is, or basswood. So we'll use this at the end, but let's check the edge before we start, and we will check when we are done. Oh, there we go. Okay. The geometry is kind of allowing it to go through the paper. There we go. But you can hear that it's kind of struggling. So let's get started. Lower you guys down a little bit more here. I have a lot of knives to sharpen, so I figured I would just do some videos. Yeah, you can actually see the paper stuck on the edge because it's just so crappy. As I was saying, I have a lot of knives to sharpen, and I figured it would just be fun to make some videos running through the sharpening on some of them. I did my GEC 74, I think it is, last night, but that took a couple hours because I used like 10 different stones, not exaggerating. I was testing some new stuff. Well, they're not new, but new to me stones that I got from Greg over at Deer Rock Knives and Mr. Jared Neves of Neves Knives. I wanted to play around with the stones that they sent me to test out, so I used, I think, around 10 of them, just playing around. So you can see that we have established a new edge bevel. Look, you can't really even see it on this side. So I'm just kind of following the factory one. I may lay it back a little bit more, but we're going to see how this one fares. And I'm just going to try to follow what it came with. But I really enjoy sharpening GECs because you can get a screaming edge on them in a pretty short amount of time. We do have a burr, it's just not completely even, so I'm just going to do a couple more little swipes here. But they're really fun to sharpen because they're very quick to sharpen. They're very easy. And you can play around with all different types of stones. They're not limited to diamonds, obviously. They're made out of 1095, so you can use anything, really. Yeah, that's a nice burr. Hopefully you guys can see that. Nice, even bevel. Just want to gently knock that little burbly-lurbly off. Okay. And we'll work on this side here. And I know this will be a little harder for you guys to see, but I shouldn't be over here too long. Anyway, how is everyone's day? It is a sunny but cold day here in New Hampshire. We have finally escaped what seemed like endless rainfall, which is really nice. I gotta go walk the dogs after I film this. So now we've got our other bevel starting to get cleaned up here, if you can see that. Just a little hairline bevel. But yeah, it's a really beautiful day here. I'm excited to get out and walk the pups. Ooh, got a nice strong burr already on this side too. It's a little more subtle right here in the middle. But I will say, these GECs, that can happen. There are so many factors that play into GECs. They're a very high quality traditional pocket knife, obviously, but that does not mean that they come without errors. And the blades can be a little wonky. This one actually looks to be a little warped, favoring this side, I think. Not sure if you guys can see that. So that will affect sharpening. And there are so many other factors. Sometimes they hit the back spring and you get blade wrap. There are so many different things, you know. GECs are amazing knives, but they are fully handmade and hand put together, and they're not perfect by any means. So you can sometimes have tricky times sharpening certain blades and whatever. It just happens. No big deal. Yeah, the burr right through here is not nearly as strong. I'm gonna see if I can just target that area, get that burr to raise up a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Let me even that out actually real quick. Also, your plates, if they are really worn, sometimes your plate won't hit a certain part of the blade. Like if you use this part, you know, this is really where a lot of your stone is doing the work. So if you have a really worn stone like this, sometimes it just starts to not hit certain parts of your blade. That's much better. Okay. Just gently knock that off. So I guess this is kind of just showing a few of the things that can happen in sharpening if you have like worn stones and a knife blade that is a little warped. I guess maybe we can take something away from this. This is not a very educational video whatsoever, but I guess we can kind of just see what happens. Because look at this stone. This is used, man. And I do clean them every time I use them. I really do. So that's not like gunk that's been on there for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? This is just truly wear and tear. I love sharpening knives. So I use my stones a lot. Love, love, love sharpening. So now we're just dialing in that apex. Ooh. Oh, I hope I don't lose this. Let me see if I can show you guys. Look at that. Do you guys see what I'm talking about right here? Check out that burr. Check out that burr that just came up. Hold on, let me see if I can get it a little more apparent on camera. Give me 1 second, guys. Just be patient with me for just a moment. This is something really cool that we never really get to see in action on camera. Oh, come on. Oh, it's not gonna focus. I hope that you saw it initially. Hold on. Let me see if I can try to pull it up without breaking it off. I have a ooh, yep. Okay. This has to show on camera, man. I have a little, look at that. Look at that burr. So that's really cool. See that little sliver of metal right there? That's exactly what you're trying to get off of there in your deburring process. Check that out. So this can be a really good sign or a really bad sign. If you have where'd she go? Oh, she's hiding. Hold on. Let me pull her back up. Oh, I lost her. Well, that's a good sign. That's what I was actually going to say. It just flaked right off onto the table somewhere, I think. But that actually goes to prove my point in real time. So when you're in your deburring process and your burr is weakening, okay, so this is what we were doing right now. These back and forth passes, what we're doing is we're dialing in the apex. We are straightening everything out because we just did our material removal, if you will. And once we start going back and forth like this, we're dialing in that apex and we are reducing the burr, weakening it, and then eventually it just falls off from this back and forth motion because we are having it walk back and forth on that apex, almost like you're bending a paper clip. People have used that analogy before, bending a paper clip until it breaks, okay? This is kind of the same thing. We are walking that burr back and forth on the apex until it releases. It breaks off, okay? So that little sliver of metal that you just saw a few minutes ago can be a really, really good sign or a really bad one. In the case of it being a good sign, you want the burr to be like almost like a little foil, like a little French fry dude that comes up, and you should be able to push with just the pressure of your thumb or use your stone, and that burr should come right off and kind of flake away in the wind. It's probably on the table here somewhere, but trying to find it would be near impossible because it's a little tiny sliver of metal, okay? So seeing that metal with your naked eye is not always a bad sign, because you can use your thumb and push it off, and if it flakes off and falls away just like you saw with really no effort, that's a good sign. It means you got a gnarly good heat treat. No retained austenite in here, because that burr removal should be very easy, just like you saw. I literally tried to just gently push that little piece of metal up so you guys could see it on camera, and poof, it blew away in the wind. So that's a very good sign of a phenomenal heat treat. What you don't want, and what I have captured on camera as well with poorly heat treated blades, is when you form a burr and the metal sliver comes up and then it's stuck there. So it'll almost feel like we call it cooking pot metal. That's not a good sign. When a sliver of metal comes up and you try to push it off with your finger and it just stays. It's like glued on there. And then you go to try to remove it on your stone and it just bends back and forth and back and forth. That's a bad sign. That's generally a sign of retained austenite, okay? Which means that burr is a soft piece of metal, and this is all soft right here. So it's almost like clay, and that burr won't release. It's too soft, okay? That's a bad sign. I've had that happen before. I've captured it on camera. I've captured it in photos. And it actually can be so strong sometimes that you can go to pull that sliver of metal off and you can't actually pull it off. You would need like tweezers or something to kind of twist and pull it out. And then when you do that, it will actually pull a microscopic level of the apex out with it because it's all too soft. Okay? So when you have trouble deburring, that's generally what it is. If you've got a burr that walks back and forth and doesn't actually ever come off, it's generally a sign of a poor heat treat, leading to most likely retained austenite, okay? However, in this particular case, as you just saw, that burr, the moment I kind of touched it, blew away in the wind. So this knife should be good to go. That's actually a very good sign. Great job. Kudos to Great Eastern Cutlery for an awesome heat treat on this little tiny blade. Let me know if you have any questions about that down in the comments. But that was a really cool real-life example of exactly what I talk about. I'm such a nerd about sharpening. And sometimes when I talk about those little flaky burrs, people don't understand what I'm referring to because it's so hard to capture on camera, especially with this front-facing camera. On phones, it just doesn't have the quality and focus as the other side. But if I use the other side, I can't see what I'm doing in the frame, so it's just can be a little tricky to use the other side. But that was really cool, guys, to capture on camera. I love capturing stuff that I've referred to. That was really neat to actually show you what a burr looks like to the naked eye when it comes up that strong and crumbles off like a little tiny French fry. That was really neat. So right now, I'm just checking to see if we have any of that burr left. I can actually see again, right here, I have some. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. You might be able to see it. It's like right here. Right here. You might see that little bit of inconsistent light reflection there. That is some burr hanging on here. I'm going to try to poke it up like I did before to see if you guys can actually see it. That's not going to focus. I'm trying to, it's so tricky because like I said, with a good heat treat, you try to kind of dick around with it and it just disintegrated on me. Okay, well, I'm just going to focus on that area a little more and just weaken that part of the burr and have it break off. Yeah, I can see it literally in real time. Oh, I wish it would pick it up, man. It's just disintegrating and just rolling off, which is great. The other thing you have to be careful about too with these really thin GECs is they will, look, check that out. They'll bend around and flex, okay? So you also have to remember if you flex the blade too much, it's not gonna hit the stone properly and then you have parts of your edge that haven't been worked on. So I'm trying to just be nice and gentle now, really guide the blade on the stone because this is a very flexible blade. Making sure every part of that edge bevel that I created hits the abrasive. Checking to see. It looks good. It feels good, except for right up there. I think we're gonna strop now. That should be pretty good. Look at all the material we removed. Definitely gonna have to clean that off. Okay, so now we're gonna use this strop here with the 13,000 grit diamond emulsion. You don't need diamond emulsion to work on a GEC at all. This is just something that I wanna try out a little more. You can use leather, but I wanna really see what kind of edge this comes up with. And we're just gonna do a couple of passes here. I really hope when I go back to double check on this video that the burr thing showed up on the lens. I'm gonna be so bummed if you couldn't actually see it, because that was really cool. I can't believe I caught that on camera. It's so tricky to catch that stuff because sometimes I will during sharpening, but before I can even voice it, it like falls off and disintegrates and you can't see it. It's really hard to capture that on camera. Now this 13,000 grit, I'm just wiping off some of the compound here. This should leave a fairly reflective edge. I'm not using any pressure here, really, just letting the compound do its thing. I just recently put this compound on, so some of it's kind of working out of the grain of the wood and sticking to the blade a little bit. That's why I keep cleaning the blade off, because I don't want it to build up on that edge. But that will all kind of work into the wood as I use this. I think we're going to check our edge. I also had blade balm on this thing beforehand too, and I tried to clean it off, but man, that stuff is resilient, if you will. It is sticky. Okay, so we've got another piece of paper just like before. And yeah, so there's that sheen I was talking about. It's pretty reflective. See that? Wow. Yeah, it's borderline mirror polish from that Michael Richter 13,000 grit. I think that equates to what, 1.5 micron, something like that. Okay, so let's see what kind of edge we have now after that. Well, I would say that's a little bit nicer than what we started with, fam. What do you think? Seems pretty razor, if you ask me. See if we can do straight down. So that is a very, that's a screaming edge, man. That's gnarly. Look at that. Oh, it's just so, I can just, I can just dick around in this paper like I do in your mom. Check that out. Oh, I don't know if we'll be able, oh, Yep. So that's kind of the ultimate sharpness test there, is being able to cut a circle out of a piece of paper. I would say I am highly satisfied with that edge, and it did not take a lot of time. 20 minutes, and that was with us kind of, you know, talking and hanging out, chatting. But that's how you can put a razor edge on your GEC. You don't need anything fancy, just the, you know, the DMTs, the quality of those is not really that great now, so I don't necessarily recommend the DMTs, but I'm just saying if you get like a cheapo, you know, cheap but decent quality diamond plate, you don't need much more than a 1200 grit for a GEC, you know, because this steel doesn't take much to move. Outdoors 55, what is he like? The Sharpall, I believe. Wicked cheap on Amazon, diamond plate, really nice. You can get one of those, but the diamonds will move any steel really efficiently. But it's not like this steel needed it. But that, I feel like that edge bevel came out pretty darn even. What do you guys think? That looks pretty even to me for freehand. Check this side. Yep, pretty even. And that thing's a freaking laser beam now. The bite this thing has, holy mother of pearl. What's that from SpongeBob? Mother of pearl, fire on the poop deck, something like that. I used to freaking die when they said that on SpongeBob when I was a kid. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, although I still think the word poop is hilarious to this day, and I'm almost 30 years old. So yeah, that's crazy. Sweet. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to watch this back and pray that that little Burr thing showed up. I'm going to pray that we caught that on camera, because then I'm going to put some, I'll probably put some like funny, no, not funny. I'll probably put some clickbait title on this to get you guys' attention, to be like, you have to see this, or I can't believe this happened. Because it's so cool to me. Like it's probably gonna sound like clickbait to you guys, but I'm dead serious. Like, I love when that happens. It's just so cool to capture on camera. I thought that was a really neat experience, being able to see that. So I'm hoping that we caught it, but I guess we'll see. Wow, that is just a beautiful, beautiful edge. I appreciate you guys watching. Check out Michael Richter Knives on YouTube and Instagram. He makes some really good diamond emulsion spray. He also makes strops. He didn't make this one, obviously. This is a piece of fucking wood. But he made the compound, or the emulsion that I sprayed on here, and he does awesome content on traditional knives, so check him out. But I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives, guys. Learn how. It's so fun. You get mom points if you do. Imagine showing up to a mom's house with a knife like this and a mirror polished edge. Come on. You think she'll be able to deny that? To resist that? Probably not. Do it up. Learn how to sharpen your knives. I'll see you guys on the next video. I love you so much, fam. Take care.